All right, so what are we here for?
Treatment.
So are these good days or irritating days?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both. Okay, they're good and irritating.
Yes.
So what are we going to do afterwards?
Go for a motorcycle ride?
That's what you said we were going to do.
Yeah.
You're just making this up as you go along.
No, I'm just like thinking.
All right, well, that'll make the day a little better.
Yeah.
Okay, so you just said you're growing a little bit of peach fuzz. Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Here, let me see.
Yeah. Yeah, you're kind of feeling it.
I'm feeling a little bit of fuzz up there.
It's growing a lot.
Yeah.
It's growing a little slower.
Looking like a hippie.
Yeah.
I think those lights up there are maybe hypnotized. So was that dog sleeping pretty good? Well, hello friends, Coach Bob with you today, and today we're going to be talking a little bit about living life, loving life, man. There's one thing just to exist, and there's another thing entirely to live and to love your life. Ooh, big old mess there they had been making. You know, Allie had a treatment this morning, and it was funny. You know, she was like, I just want to go for a ride, Dad. I just want to go for a ride. And, you know, after her treatment, she feels pretty rough, you know, pretty haggard and beat up and all that jazz. And so, you know, we finish up. I'm like, well, she may change her mind. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? She goes, let's go to the house, get on the Spyder, let's go for a ride. I want to ride on that new Spyder. Make sure that you're living and loving your life, because that's what she's doing. All right, well, before we get going on some methods and some ways to appreciate your life and living it to the fullest, make sure you give this video a big old fat thumbs up. Share it with your friends. You know, a regular thumbs up won't do. Got to be a big old fat one. You know, leave a comment down below, even if it's just, howdy, coach. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. Just leave a comment. It moves us up in the old algorithm. Appreciate it. All right, so as we were talking today about, you know, loving life and living life and all of that kind of stuff, we came up with a few methods. It was funny, you know, because Allie, you know, she's been going through it and all that stuff, but she had some very, very good insight on how to handle things and what to do. So I asked her, what is the first thing that you should do if you're feeling bad, you know, when you've had a treatment, you're feeling terrible and you don't want to do anything, what is the first thing that you think you need to do in order to pull yourself out of that well, that dark well that we fall into? And she was like, well, the first thing you got to do is you got to do something, anything. You got to do something. Sitting around is the worst thing you possibly do. So if you're feeling blue, if you're feeling disheveled, beat up and unappreciated and unloved by the world, or if you feel sick or feel like you're dying or feel whatever, the first thing you have to do is do something. Now, I asked her if she felt like riding. She goes, I don't really feel like it. I want to. I need to get out. I need to move around. So that is what we're doing. So if you wait until you feel like doing it, you might never do it. And in fact, you won't do it. You'll look back and you'll go, man, I wish I wouldn't have wasted all of that time. I wish I wouldn't have thrown those days away when I was feeling bad or feeling down. I should have just jumped into the cold water and had the shock and just jump in and swim. It's just awesome. It's just awesome. So the first thing you got to do, you got to get up. You got to do something. You just got to do something. Plan something. Doesn't matter. And if you don't want to do it anyway. It'll make you feel better. So number two, I asked her, what is number two of living and loving your life when you're going through tough times? And she goes, well, Dad, you know, like right here, it's this. I'm like, what does that mean? She goes, it's this. I said, well, you talking about the connection with people? And she's like, yes. You know, we've discussed this on this channel before. One of the things that she said is makes her very, very sad is when we go in to do these treatments is that everyone's alone, and although these people are smiling and happy and loving their life and living and doing the best they can, she's like, man, their life could be so much sweeter if they had someone that would just go with them and love on them and just be with them. So I asked her, well, what if you didn't have me? What would you do in order to maintain this somehow? What if I just fell off the planet? You know, God called me home or whatever, what would you do? And she's like, well, Dad, I'd have to ask someone to go with me. Not because I need them there to take care of me. I just want somebody to go with me. So if you're feeling down, you know, reach out to that friend, reach out to someone and go, hey, would you just go with me somewhere? It doesn't have to be to a doctor's appointment. It could be, hey, I'm going to the coffee shop today. I want some companionship. Will you go to the coffee shop with me? We don't have to talk about anything in particular. You can sit there and drink your coffee and smile at me. That'll be good enough. In fact, today at her treatment, I dozed off for a minute and I woke up and I'm like, oh, sorry about that. And she goes, I'm just glad you're here. That's how it is. You just got to be there. You got to have somebody there to connect with. That's what's important, the human connection. So the first thing you got to do is plan something and do it no matter how you feel about it. And then the next thing you have to do, you've got to do it with somebody that you love being around. Those are two pretty powerful things. All right, number three. You know, every now and then Bob will wake up in a bad mood, foul mood, and all that stuff. And she always tells me this, you know, Dad, I got to be happy. I have 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 to be joyful. I have to be appreciative. I ask her, is it easy to do that? She goes, no, it's definitely not easy to appreciate your life when you're sick and you're feeling bad and you don't get to do the things you want to do, and you watch your other friends, you know, live their life and enjoy their lives, and you're going through treatments and dealing with stuff. Ooh, I'm cutting some big old tree limbs there. Well, this ain't good. He made quick work of that. That guy's a pro. That guy is a pro. Look at that. You know, she told me though, she goes, Dad, if I don't choose to be happy, the default isn't to not be happy. The default is to just look down and kind of be bitter about it, you know, that all of a sudden you realize that other people are having fun and you're not, and that you know, you watch your friends go to the beach or do something and you don't get to go, and you have to choose to be happy, because if not, the choice is going to be made for you anyway, and that the day is going to be going by you. This next 12 hours is going to be there, and so you can be miserable in that 12-hour stretch, or you can be happy. And it doesn't mean that you're going to be at a dinner party dancing a jig and just feeling like that, you know, you're floating on air. But the idea that you have the power within your mind to go, I am going to choose to be happy. I'm going to choose to feel good about my life. I'm going to enjoy my life. That's a very powerful thing, and to see all of the things that she's gone through, and for her to still be choosing that integrity at the moment of choice and going, I am going to be happy no matter what. The fourth thing I thought was a really powerful thing as we were talking about this, and the idea that you have to recognize the good days, or maybe even not the good days. She said you have to recognize the better days. You have better days and you have worse days. Maybe not good days and not bad days, just some are better, and that's what they are, right? And so she recognizes the better days. She recognizes when she's having a day that is not as hard as it was the previous day. Maybe her bones don't ache as much. Last week she was having a hard time because she was having some problems with her feet, and the bones in her feet were hurting, and so she was pretty miserable trying to just stand up. And so we got these little Ace Bandage arch support braces that kind of lift your foot up and pull the bones together and put a little compression on there. And she's like, almost immediately she felt relief. I'm like, do they hurt? And she goes, yeah, they hurt. I'm like, how bad? And she goes, it's way better. I can do this. This is awesome. So to understand that better sometimes is what we get. It doesn't have to be great in order to appreciate the better from the worse. And that she's learned to do that, and to be content in that better is very difficult. It's very mature too. I'm not going to say that I'm the master of that, because I am not. She is young. She's in her late 20s, and she still has mastered that to a much greater level than I have, to be able to appreciate a day that might not be a superlative day, and as opposed to licking her wounds, she appreciates the fact a better day. So number 4 is recognize when the day is a little better and appreciate every little bit, because every little bit counts. We're about to slap number 5 out here. So I want you to do me a favor before I do that. Give the video a thumbs up again, subscribe to the channel, share it with your friends, all that business. I would appreciate it. And number 5, I thought it was the most powerful of all of them. This is a tough one, because we've dealt with a lot. This was a big one for her. And she goes, recognize how temporary this is. And I was like, what do you mean by that? What do you mean how temporary? The pain? How temporary the treatment? What do you mean? She goes, all of it. Look at that bird. That is a big old bird. Look at that thing. He dropped an animal. You see him drop that animal? He had an animal in his talons, and when we went by, he dropped it. But she was like, no, Dad, the temporary, the momentary thing that we call life, the idea that life is short and that eternity is long, and that I'm okay with all of this, and my life is good and things are looking up. But even when they're not looking up, I have to just understand that this too will pass. We used to have the conversation with all of the kids, when things would go real bad, I'd be like, this will pass. And they're like, whew, thank goodness. And then they were like, things are going great. I'm like, yeah, this will pass. It'll pass. And they're like, what does that mean? I'm like, it won't be great forever, Oh, well, I'm not doing good in school. This will pass. It all passes, right? Good days pass, bad days pass. They all pass. Every day is not going to be great. Every day is not going to be bad. And everything is passing in this lifetime. Your life is actually passing you by. What are you going to do with it? What are you going to do with that moment as that little span of time is moving by? What are you going to do with it? Well, I can tell you, Baba has chosen to be happy. She's chosen to appreciate every day. She's chosen to laugh, to spend time with friends, to spend time with family, to exercise integrity at the moment of choice, and to be able to appreciate the better days and accept the less than better days, and to know that regardless of which day is delivered, that it will pass. All right. Well, there you have it. 5 solid ways for you to live your life and to be able to feel good about things and know that, you know, if a person in their mid-20s can go through this sort of tragic stuff in their life, and they can do it with grace and smile, and that they can, you know, laugh and giggle and play and work and do all of those things all at one time. If she can do it, you can do it too. Well, I know you're encouraged because I certainly am. It was just a great conversation about life and what we have here and how, you know, your joy is delivered every morning, you know, every day. She just lives that day, that little piece. It's wonderful. It's wonderful. I got a lot out of that, and I know you did too. So do me a favor until next time. You, go out, buy the motorcycle of your dreams, eat right, take care of yourself, and remember, if you're not having fun, you are doing it wrong. Now you go seize the day, and me and Bobble will see you on the road real soon.